Many men have nothing to smile about. Been broke down, too proud to cry it out. Walk a mile in my boots and you know what I'm about. I took some licks and I took some hits and I found out them bones can actually break sticks. But them words are powerful as shit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let the Paint Dry. We're so honored to be here once again, and I think this is just our third podcast in 2021. And as always, we open with a grounding medicine song. We open with improv grounding medicine song that gets us just where we need to be into our bodies, filling just our body and filling where we are in our spirit. So we'll do that as always. Yado gong 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 bedede dum bedede. Meeny Teckle says a hand riding on the wall. Meeny Teckle says a hand riding on the wall. I said a meeny Teckle says a hand riding on the wall. Meeny Teckle says a hand riding on the wall. Meeny Teckle says a hand riding on the wall. Meeny Teckle says a hand riding on the wall. Seraphim a cherubim a hand riding on the wall. Seraphim a cherubim a hand riding on the wall. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock coming up, Lord. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Elijah rock, shout, shout. Stop and let me tell you about chapter 1. The Lord God said it all begun. He said, my God is a rock in a weary land, in a weary land. My God is a rock in a weary land, a shelter in the time of old. Oh, my God is a rock in a weary land, shelter in the time of old. My God is a rock in a weary land, shelter in the time of storm. You are my medicine. I said, oh, you are my medicine. I said, yeah, whoa, you are my medicine. Oh, you are my medicine, and you heal me and restore me, and take me to that heavenly place. I say you are my medicine. You are my medicine, and you take me to that place. Mm, there we are. So, thinking about with the last couple of days, and really came to me yesterday with, I was reminded listening to some old recordings of, I think it's Earl Nightingale. I think I could be wrong on the name. Yeah, I listened to it years ago, but it was great to get the reminder. I think he does a lot of work around Napoleon Hill's book of Think and Grow Rich, and it's probably one of the most popular books. But what I was reminded of is the level of truth. The level of truth where when he did the Strangest Secret, it's on YouTube, anybody can find it. The strangest secret is that what we think about is what we become. And that's been sitting with me from yesterday to today, that what we let consume our minds is what we become. And that's a universal truth. That's a truth that if you think about nothing all day, and you do that for enough days and enough months and enough years, that you will become nothing. And that sounds very, very dark and depressing and sad. But the beautiful thing is that our minds, and Earl said this, our minds are like, and if I got his name wrong and I'm having an old man moment, bear with me, but you can find it. He said that our minds are just like land, like a piece of land that a farmer has. And that you can have two plants, one that's poison and one that's, he used corn. And you can put both of those plants in the ground, and whatever you water and feed, it will flourish. And our minds are the same way. And I think about just where we were in 2020, and then how we're starting off in 2021. And we have a pandemic, and we have Black lives at the forefront of our culture. Black bodies being normalized in the midst of abuse. And then and injustice and murder. And then I think about that statement of what we think we become. And how important it is in 2021 to control our mind and what we think about. And I would say we think about the things that we consume, the things that we see. How important is it to control the things that we see? To be conscious of what we're consuming? To be aware of the energy that we are around? Relationships, friendships, families. What do they motivate us to think about? And he had this talk that I listened to. He has this whole thing of writing down your goals. And that's something that I think most people get, they understand it. And it's funny because the things that we get, the things that are simple to understand, are not necessarily simple to execute and implement in our lives. And I think about setting goals, and I spent 10 years in a corporate environment where we had daily goals every single day. The business I was in was toxic, but the concept of goals is tried and true. The concept of writing down your goals and saying, this is what I'm going to do, and putting every ounce of energy that you have towards that. And then we used to have to write down our goals, but we had to be real specific with how we were going to achieve our goals. How? I remember being frustrated with that in the beginning, because I was around people that didn't train me how to achieve those goals. They had they would just say it. And that's the problem with a lot of good ideas is they get repeated. But a good idea without action is worthless. Any idea without action is worthless. So we have to know, like, what do we actually do? And in this journey called life, and us being, Let the Paint Dry, we're we're surrounded by entrepreneurs, and we're artists and creatives. Everybody's life looks different. So there's different ways that you'll specifically do that, but there's certain universal laws that just hold true. So it may be like me, I do a lot of meditation, I listen to a lot of like abstract music, a lot of Alice Coltrane. Make sure I get her name right. I'm terrible with names. And I need quietness. I write tons. It's funny because here on the show, I have like 7 different notes, but then the journal is like chock full of just writing and just my brain just spilling out things. I write my goals down. I need to visually see them. I need to like write on a paper what's important to me and stay focused on it. Back in the day when we were in our corporate days and they'd say, okay, how are you going to achieve your goals? So you wrote down, okay, I'm gonna get $5,000 today. Well, how? So we had to break down like where that money is going to come. We had to divide $5,000 with how many customers we were going to sell and get and all that stuff. So you got to break it down to the nitty gritty. You got to break it down. You can use days, you can use hours, you can use, if you're doing sales, okay, you how much do you need in sales? You need 10 grand? Okay. How many people can give you 10 grand? Is it one sale or is that 10 sales? Those are just some little tactics, but when you start bringing your brain into that type of focus, even on spiritual things, because for me, the spiritual, the energetic, and the business all run hand to hand, and the art is all the same for me. It's all energy. It's all from my gut. Because your body will tell you if something's good. You know when you write down a goal, whether you can achieve it or not. I feel like when you write down goals, you have to be very realistic. You have to have context. It's more than just write down your goals. Oh, I want to make $10,000 today. Okay, let's be a little more specific. What product do you have? How much is the product? Will someone pay $10,000 for it? Okay, they won't. Okay, they'll pay $1,000. Okay, so then you just need, what is that, 10 customers? And if I'm fuzzy on my math, I'm terrible at unless I see it. But you get what I'm saying. However many customers you need to make $10,000. And then you find those customers. When are they willing to pay? What kind of value are you bringing? And that's where we get into some of the things we were talking about last year, where that we're all connected. What kind of value can we bring to other people that they will pay us for? How can we, I think one of the most important questions, how can we get a product? And the most important question is, where do we want our customers to go after using our product? Who do we want them to become? Because if you're a beer company, do you want people to just become alcoholics? And I enjoy beer, not critiquing the beer companies. What is the bigger vision to your brand? Where do you want people to go? So for me, I want people to win. Now I have this conflict because I believe that everybody can win. And I'll get behind somebody and I will push and pour and get all excited. But I've come to realize that if the raw material isn't put in by their parents, it's extremely hard to pull greatness out of somebody who's never been told they're great. But my personality is, you are great. Even if everybody in the world has told you you aren't, you are. Like it's never everybody in the world. It's always a parent, someone who had great influence on your life that tore you down at a very, very tender age. But I truly believe if you can do like personal rehab on yourself, on just your mental and your read as many books as you can, reach out to people that are winning, and if they're available to give information, give what they do, follow it. That's my personal desire for everybody who buys art from me, who consumes anything, is I want you to win. I want you to be happy. And winning to me is happiness. When you achieve happiness, that's winning for me. I want you to be happy, peaceful, at peace. Not telling you that you need to be peaceful, but peaceful in your spirit. Be able to find joy and peace in your life. That is my desire for everybody that I come in contact with. That there's like not just walking around seeing people or passing people on the street, but people that I interact with and talk to and have some sort of human connection with. I want you, my desire for you is that your dreams come true, that you live a rich life, not a mediocre life, not a average, but above average. This life is a great gift, an opportunity. It should be an engaging, exciting adventure. Now, you get gray hairs like me and you have to take a break. You can't have adventures all the time. You get tired. That's the thing I think I'm realizing as an entrepreneur is that an artist is that I'm so excited about what I'm doing, I forget to take days off, and then I get exhausted and I just like crash for 2 days. So I'm still working on that. Because I just go. The other day I had like probably 6-7 different stops, from Olympia to Tacoma to Puyallup to back in Olympia. It was crazy. I was excited. That's how it is most days. I'm so pumped up. It's important. It's extremely important for human beings to not conform, but to do what is in your heart, to do what is boiling in your gut, that dream, that desire, that passion, whatever it is. It's vital if you want to live a good life. It is critical. It is life or death that you do what is in your heart, that fire. Find a way. Put no price tag on it. There isn't a price tag that you can put on your happiness. If it takes $1 million to achieve what you need to achieve, to be happy, go get it. Because that million is nothing in comparison to being happy. Chances are it only will take a couple thousand to get started. That's how the world works. But don't let anything stop you. And I've reached a place in my life that I realize this is true. This is the truth. The truth is happy people make other people happy. Happy people live good lives. Success isn't about a dollar amount that is in your bank account. Success is about answering the call that is in your heart and in your mind and in your gut of your dream, your desire, your passion, and taking one step forward. That is success. And then all the money is just extra, because you can get a lot of money and not be successful. There are tons of people walking around like that. I've been one of them. Had all the temporal, material things that I needed and some, and was so depressed. How does that happen? Because I wasn't walking in my calling. I wasn't listening to who I was put on this earth to be. I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't listening to my mind, my heart, my chakras, whatever you want to call it. I wasn't listening to any of that stuff. I was trying to conform. I was trying to fit in to some construct of what people feel is acceptable. But once I let all of that go, and it took a long time. Once I let go of that, I became so happy. I became so joyful. So if these words can be a blessing to you, an encouragement to you, then awesome. That's my goal. And hopefully you find your way, whatever that is, whatever's burning inside you. I hope that you're encouraged to follow that, to take the first steps. However small they are, make them deliberate, and then take the next step. It may be signing up for a course. It may be just taking $10 and put it in your savings towards your goal. I remember a time, I think I talked about it before on this podcast. I remember a time where I was so broke that I would scrounge for change every morning. Not even my own change, just change I could find in my dad's car, to buy a cup of hot chocolate for $1.50 and then 50 cents to buy a newspaper. And I would walk into Starbucks where I was living, and I would sit with the newspaper and just check out. And I had a hoodie on. I looked like a homeless guy, sweats, and it would be 5 a.m. That's all I could afford every day. I didn't have a job. Nobody around me had resources. And I just would go and just sit, but I would just find enough. I said, if I can scrounge enough to buy a hot chocolate, I think at that time it was $1.50. And then I got a couple dollars extra one time, or a couple times, and I'd buy a muffin. And I would sit and just think and meditate about what I wanted to do and about my talent. And what I knew, just literally self-talk. I don't know really how I got out of that place, but I believe that those times of just taking that time for myself and saying, I could at least afford $1.50. I could find that. Sometimes I couldn't. I just had the 50 cents, so it was just water and a paper. And just sit and imagine. Let your imagination run wild with what could possibly happen. That may be the first step. That may be your first step towards your dream. Take it. So I don't know if any of this makes sense or if any of this is cohesive enough, but if it is and you can find some value from it, that brings my heart joy. I think it's probably healthy to go dark in our world of social media, to check out, to not be online all the time, and work and allow yourself room to dream, room to imagine, room to take actions and put some things in place. In everything that you see, whether it's a store, whether it's a marriage, a retail space, a business, this podcast, there's always a behind the scenes. And the behind the scenes, there's a bunch of different pieces working to make it happen. There's resources, there's time, there's provision, there's money allocated to make it happen. And if your life is so busy that you can't put those things in place, it's going to be really hard to achieve the show, the presentation, the business, because there's a behind the scenes. There's a lot of work, real work and time, and it's fun work. But if you're distracted by pettiness, by small-mindedness, you will be distracted out of your dream and the best life that you need to live. So don't let that happen. Nyadoro bere wanyo bere wo Handu, that peaceful river, Yawagade, I'll rest my soul. Speak to me, guide me to that peaceful place. And when the storms come to destroy me, hold me still. 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 So we have a show coming up in February at the Leo Gallery again at South Puget Sound Community College. It is titled Closer, and so we're extremely excited. It's only going to be 3 artists this time. So we have, last time it was 13, so we have the exact same amount of space, but each of us have about 30 feet to fill. So I have my work cut out for me, but I'm working on canvases and have a bunch of canvases already done. So I'll give more information on that. It's going to run through March, and I think March 12th, I believe, is the date. We'll do a online artist talk. I think they're going to stream it, and it'll be all 3 artists talking together, and we'll have the curator doing questions. So it should be a lot of fun to talk about our art and whatever we come up with, because my paintings aren't, the ones I have for the show aren't necessarily done, I don't think. So I don't really know what's going to be in the show. I'm working through it. So that'll be fun. And then I started a Patreon. That's on my Facebook page, and I'll put it on my Instagram page. So if you want to join me on that journey, that would be an honor. And if you want to buy some art, I have prints and I have originals on my website, travisjohnsonart.squarespace.com. Sponsorship, if you want to sponsor the podcast, that is one way to sponsor it. Or you can, if you want to be do bigger donations, you can reach out to me directly. Go in love, do work that matters, and I'll see you on the next time. Let the paint dry.